Welcome to this quick guide on mastering SQL queries and T.C.L. In this episode, I am going to deep dive into the concept of transactions and T.C.L, that is Transaction Control Language in SQL Server. I am going to explain you the detailed requirement of transactions and T.C.L with practical examples. You are going to learn Begin Tran, Rollback Tran, Commit Trans, Save Trans, and others. You will get to know how to use these in practical and real-time projects. So let's get started. Let's take a real-time example. There is a customer called Nina Joseph. She's having account in some bank. So she's having two types of account. One is FD, that is called fixed deposit account, and the other is savings account of hers in the same bank. So for our information, somebody can park money there in FD account for better interest results in India. So that's where she has parked some amount there in FD account. One day, what she wants is, she wants to withdraw 10,000 rupees from her FD account. So there is a provision that you can withdraw amount from FD if their FD is of that type of nature. So maybe she's in need, so she's trying to withdraw this amount. So where will this amount go? She's doing some online transaction, and in this online transaction, she's going to withdraw this amount, and so that this amount will come from FD account to saving account. Correct? So the new FD account balance will be 60,000 instead of 70,000 because 10,000 has been withdrawn, and the new saving account will have 80,000 rupees instead of 70,000 because the amount has come from FD account. The point to be noted here is that all these operations, there are two major operations happening. The number one is amount is getting withdrawn from one account, and number two is amount is getting deposited to another account. So these two operations should be done like a single chunk. So there must not be any possibility where the one operation got succeeded but the second operation did not. And that's where we are landing up with something called transactions. So if you see transactions, what happens? Transactions actually takes these two operations as a single chunk, and it makes sure that both the instructions should execute. They must execute. If they both execute, then only it is considered to be successful transaction. Otherwise, it will be rolled back. I mean, the amount which went from this account, if just by chance could not be deposited here, it will come back here. So let's go and see this in action. What problem somebody can face when they are trying to do these two instructions, two operations without any transaction. So I am in SQL Server Management Studio, and I have written certain script for you to create a couple of tables and other stuffs just to make the video speeded up and not taking much time. So the first table that I'm going to create is Bank FD Master. This is one table which contains FD deposited, fixed deposited details, which has got account number and balance amount. And the other table is a customer table, where it's customer saving table. So this customer saving table has got account number, customer name, and balance amount. Make sense? What is happening here is we are inserting some values to this table. So let's create these two tables. I'm selecting this and I'm hitting this execute button. Table gets created, and likewise I am going for the next table to create, and I'm selecting this and hitting this button. Table gets created. Now let's go and insert a couple of values to this. So I'm going to insert three records: the record of Dino Simon, the record of Jack Teddy, and the record of Nina Joseph. We have already seen the Nina Joseph scenario a couple of minutes back. So I'm going to create this. The insertion has taken place, and now if I'm going to see these rows, you can see that FD account has got a couple of values, and likewise this Nina Joseph is also having in her saving account is 70,000 rupees, and in her FD account is also 70,000 rupees here. Make sense? Let me take it to a different query window, and here it's okay. Now let me create a scenario. The scenario is I'm going to do two things. Nina Joseph issues a command. The command is she wants a withdrawal of 10,000 rupees from her FD master. So the simple update command we already know. Update bank FD master, cell balance amount equals balance amount minus 10,000, because we are going to withdraw 10,000, where account number is 103. 103 account number is for Nina Joseph. Make sense? Now this is the first thing. I have withdrawn from the FD account, and then I'm going to deposit into the what you call savings account. For that, I'm going to do update customer saving, set balance amount equal to balance amount plus 10,000. So this should be the correct query here, but I have commented out. I don't want to execute it. I want to make some mistakes. The mistake is I'm going to write this erroneous query so that it will produce an error. Okay. And why I'm going to do this? I'm going to just take that scenario that withdrawal from FD was possible, but deposit to the saving was somehow not possible. If this happens, then what will happen then there would be a kind of issue. There would be a data inconsistency. Data inconsistency means it came out from FD master, but it never landed in the savings account. And then it should be the consistent data, but since it didn't happen, both the operation did not execute in one go, then there was a problem. Okay. For that sake, what I'm trying to do, I have written this erroneous statement. This is an erroneous statement. This may produce an error. I have just done divided by 10, divided by 0. So divided by 0 will produce divide by 0 error. And here, this is a error is a global system function, which basically captures the errors. If any error occurs in this session, this will capture the error number. I mean, it will increment by its value by 1. Now, here I'm checking in a if block. Just bear with me. This is a new statement for you because I have not discussed if in SQL Server, T.C.L here, but I'm just writing a very simple if this is not equal to 0. If not equal to 0 means if there is some error. If there is some error, then print some error while updating. Make sense? So let's go and see. So what I'm going to execute all these commands in one go. So let's go and execute and see that if I'm coming here and selecting these two tables, you see the Nina Joseph's account has been debited. It was 70,000. Now it becomes 60,000. But her saving account is still 70,000. It has not increased by 80,000. Make sense? Because there was a problem while updating the saving account, but there was no problem while updating the FD fixed deposit account. So this way we can produce. Now you see the result. Nina Joseph was 70 and 70, but now Nina Joseph FD account has gone 60,000, but still the saving account is 70,000. Where has this 10,000 gone? And here is the data inconsistency situation. Make sense? This is somewhere where we need transactions to come into the picture. So if I say transactions, if I do these all operations within a transactions, there is no possibility that we will have such data inconsistency situation. Before we go and see in action, let's go and try to understand what TCLs are and what are the transactions and how TCL handle the transactions. So let's go there. If you say TCL in SQL Server, this is transaction control language. It is a subset of SQL commands, and this basically used to manage transactions. Now transactions is a new word here, and we have already seen the situation where I was talking about if this could have been done with like transactions, then there was no problem. I mean, this problem could have not seen. The data inconsistency could not have been seen, right? So let's define transactions. So transactions are sequence of one or more SQL operations. So we have seen we were writing two update statement, one and second. One was doing withdrawal from FD account and the other was depositing into savings account. So it is a combination, or it is a sequence of one or more operations, but they are executed as a single unit of work. Okay. So if you do this and both the operations are executed as a single unit of work, then there is no chance of data inconsistency, or we will have data integrity and consistency both. Make sense? And more or less, this is the way you will write the transaction. Begin transaction in TCL and operation 1, operation 2. So you can debit from source account, that means debit from FD account, and credit to the savings account. And likewise, if error occurs, then roll it back. If error doesn't occur, then commit it. So there are a couple of things. Begin, trans, rollback, commit, they are quite new for you now. So I'm going to define these all. But for now, you should be able to understand what transactions are. So transactions are nothing but a sequence of one or more operations executed as single unit of work. That is important to know. So a transaction is said to be either 0 or 100%. There is nothing like a middle or something like 50%, 70%. It will be done either 100% completed, or it will not be completed, then it will be 0%, right? Either it will be done successfully or it will not be done. It will be rolled back to its previous stage. Make sense? So T.C.L commands are controls. Commands are SQL commands. They control the behavior of transactions. And mainly, if you see T.C.L commands, they are commit, rollback, and save points. Okay. And that's where T.C.L basically avails you the ACID thing. So ACID call as atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So atomicity says that this is the main advantage of transactions management. So if it is atomicity, so all the operations within the transactions are completed successfully. If not, nothing is done. Guarantees that transactions brings the DB from one valid state to another. So DB will always be there in valid state. Isolation, that ensures that concurrently executing transactions do not interfere. So there are many transactions coming for one thing. So if concurrent transactions coming on a particular data table or anywhere on particular data, so this will not interfere with each other. And finally, durability. Once committed, the changes is permanent. It will not go lost even in the system failures. So here we see that the TCLs and the transactions basically helps us maintaining ACID. You can say many examples of transactions. For example, in financial systems and banking system, you have already seen one such example. In order management, in e-commerce websites or e-commerce projects or e-commerce applications, we can say when customer places an order and then he goes for multiple steps and finally payment done. So what happens if anywhere if he fails to do, his transaction will be rolled back. So there won't be any chance that the money gets stuck or somewhere. Okay. So this is where we see that transactions are and TCLs are helpful in the scenario. The third scenario is application development. So you or I can develop many complex projects, many complex applications when there are many complex statements and steps are executed. So we can basically wrap them into the transaction management, so that what will happen, like we will ensure the data integrity and consistency. And finally, data migration and ETL. ETL understands for extract, transform, and load. So if you are actually migrating data from one server to another, then there should not be any kind of inconsistency there. TCLs and transactions can be much more helpful. Finally, we are going to the transactions command. We have begin transaction. This initiate a new transaction. We have commit transaction. This basically ensures that whatever changes that you have done will be saved finally and they are permanently to the DB. And we have rollback. Rollback transaction ensures that whatever changes that you have done, if you are rolling back, that will be brought back. Actually, they will not be done. They will be undone and you will come to the previous stage. And finally, we have saved transactions. We have using saved transactions, we can create save points wherein you can actually create some labels in the, so your transaction, let's have contain 5, 6, 7 operations, and you want to create that first 2 operations should be very much safe. So you can actually create a save point there. So if you are doing a rollback, the rollback will only be done means for 2 things the rollback will not be done, but for other remaining, first and second onwards, third, fourth, sixth, seventh, and all the rollback will be done. So for that you can create saved transactions. I will show these all in action right now. So let's go and see these all. I am back in SQL Server Management Studio, and now I am going to delete these both tables just to show you the demo again. And then let's create the table. First table is FD master. So bank FD master, the first table has created, and then second table is customer savings. The table has got created. Now let me insert these values. Even the values have been inserted, and you see these values here, and so as the same values shown here also. Nina Joseph, the record of age is very interesting here, having 70,000 in her FD account and 70,000 in her savings account. Now let's go and introduce transactions here. So this was a problematic statement we have already seen, right? So now let's do the transactions. So we know we have already seen in the previous snap that we can begin the transactions like this. So you can either write like this, or you can only write the 4 characters, Tran, T-R-A-N, or you can write full as transaction. So here the transaction is begun, and then you are writing the first update statement, and then you are writing the faulty statement, by mistake, erroneous statement as well. But what you are trying to do is you are checking if any error has occurred in above transaction. If any error has occurred in above transaction, then roll back. And rollback will do what? It will bring it back to the previous state. So by chance, if bank FD master got debited by 10,000, it was diminished by 10,000, it will be brought back again. So if any error occurs, so it will make sure both these statements should execute successfully. If any problem occurs in any of these statements, then it will roll back. Make sense? So this is the beauty of transaction. Okay, so let's go and execute this and see these things in action. So what do you expect? Obviously the second is a mistake, right? If I'm going and trying to update this, let's see, this is a erroneous statement, divide by 0 error, right? So this will be a erroneous statement since this is intentionally written. So let me go and select these all and execute like a transaction, and let's see the beauty, right? So I have executed, and ideally this, if I am not using transaction, then FD master was diminished earlier. We might have seen in the last example. So what do you think? Will this bank FD master has got diminished? I don't think so, because we have used transaction, and you see the consistent record here. Nina Joseph has got 70,000 in her FD account, and so Nina Joseph has got 70,000 only in her saving account, and there is no inconsistency of data. And here transaction enforces data integrity and consistency. Make sense? So this ensures that both the statements should execute successfully, otherwise it will roll it back. Make sense? Now let me remove these erroneous statement. Now it is pretty much cool statement. Now it is pretty much a statement which is correct. So let me go and execute this, and let's see. Right now 70,000, 70,000, but if both the transaction has got succeeded, then this will become 60,000 and this will become 80,000. Let me refresh it, and here you see 60,000 and 80,000. Make sense? Now I hope that the concept of transaction and how to write transactions is pretty much clear to you. Make sense? Now I am going to explain you the save point stuff. In order to make you understand the save point, let me create a table that is called table 1. Table has got created. This table has got two things, values and description. So you see that I am starting the transaction here, and I am doing two inserts here. Make sense? And then I am going to create a save point. This is the way you can create a save point. Save, transaction, and transaction name. So there is a save point called Tran level 1 has got created. Okay, so this Tran level 1 save point has been created here, and after that I am inserting another record. Make sense? And then I am rolling it back trans level 1. Okay, and then that's all I'm doing. This is the new thing that I'll tell you. So what should happen? Let's go and insert this. So things have got inserted. Now if I want to check what would be the value in the, let's go and select what is there in table 1. So you see the first item and second item. Why it is first item and second item? You see that first item and second item were inserted in the transaction, and then we created a save point. And after this, once you are rolling back, the rollback will only happen until this save point start. The save point started here, so whatever inserts that you might have done after the save point could be rolled back. So this way you can create save points one after another. So this is how we do save points at many cases, like when we need to have a big transactional statements, many operations, and you want to segregate a couple of things that on any rollback, this at least should not go get rolled back. So in that way you can create save points. Okay, now I'm going to show you another example of save point. So this is the save point. For this, let me delete the table again and then create the table again, and let's go. So here the transaction is begun, and I am doing two inserts here, first and second item, and I'm creating a save point of trans level 1, and then I am inserting third item, and then I'm creating a save point to the same name. So this is what I wanted to explain. If the same name save points are created, then which save point will be considered? So in this case, the save point which is at the last will be considered. So ideally, what should be the answer? The first item, second item, and third item will be inserted, because this item, this particular line is going beyond the save point. So this will be only lost when we do the rollback. Okay. So let's go and do. So this has been done, and let's see what happens. You see that only the first line, second line, and third lines are created. So if there are multiple save points with the same name, if you are doing rollback, then the last save point will be considered. There is a global system function called @tran count. Basically, this system returns the number of active transactions for the current database connections. So you might have seen I have used that tran count there in the SQL Server Management Studio. So what happens every time when you do a begin tran, the tran count value, every time when you do the begin tran, the tran count value will be increased by 1. And every time you do the commit, the tran count value will be diminished by 1. So basically it takes care of, it counts the number of open transactions. So anytime if you do the rollback, it will be reset to 0, right? Now the question coming here is there any impact of save point on tran count? So if you are using any save point, since you are doing a rollback specific to save point, the tran count value is not impacted. Okay, this will only be impacted when you do the simple rollback. So simple rollback is a global rollback. It will roll back everything in the transaction. I understand the concept of T.C.L. and transactions which I explained is pretty much clear to you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more high quality technical content, drop your question in comments, and I will be happy to answer them. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.